Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst Of Lists. The tops and worst of. Voted by Car and Driver magazine for 3 years running as the best in the worst. Somehow. I'm your host with the most for this evening's odyssey through the great unknown. My name is Marcus Down, and voted runner-up as People Magazine's Sexiest Man Alive, also for 3 years running. So darn close. So damn close. It's inconceivable. It's such great pleasure to be able to be here. Once again, we've got, this is a super important top 10 worst of list. And I'm so glad that you were able to tune in. Today's top 10 worst of list is top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. Oh, it's about time that somebody took that guy down a notch or two, or at least maybe tilted his upturned nose down a little bit, brought him back down to earth. I think that an authentic, honest Bruce Springsteen would be an asset to the great unwashed. Perhaps, being able to inspire people in ways that were beneficial to their long-term interests, rather than just being, a sort of cheerleader for the helpless to remain helpless. But anyway, we'll get into that in a minute. Before we indulge in the business at hand, let us attend to the business at hand. Couple of caveats before we indulge ourselves in the fun and liberating top 10 worst of for today. Number one, I'm an oddball, in case you haven't noticed. I marched to the tune of a different drummer. The Fat Lady, the legendary It Ain't Over Till the Fat Lady Sings. I am that fat lady. And I'm singing like a canary right here, right now. I spent 30 years trying to do some antics. Perhaps a bloodless revolution or two, based on empowering what's good in people. Trying to start a grassroots movement to liberate us from the grasp of our malevolent captors. Didn't work. Pretty much destroyed by those who I was trying to help. After 30 years of nonstop dedication and sacrifice. Really? Trying to bounce back. The word you're searching for is indefatigable. It's the strength, the power percolates from within. Those of us who've learned a lot of life lessons, overcome a lot of speed bumps in life, perhaps not even caring for one's own self any longer, but dedicated to the proposition that if we don't liberate ourselves, we're condemned to being dehumanized victims for the rest of eternity. Perhaps. But anywho, so I'm not to be trusted, I'm not to be relied upon, I'm not to be counted on. That all the where-tos and what-fors have their T's dotted and their I's crossed. So I'm not just relying on you, I'm insisting that should you hear anything in the course of today's episode that you find to be questionable or a pile of bull dink. I shan't be offended if you research the validity, the veracity of my delivery might dissuade you from doubting the virility of my assertions. But, enough of you sort of casting aspersions on a wide variety of resources that you've been brainwashed into mistrusting, okay? And find out for yourselves. Be your own fact checker. If there's anything that I've learned, it's this. Don't trust anything. Anything that you're able, that whether it be a feed in your social network, all the way up to your alt medias and your Breitbart reports and Dredge reports and Daily Wires, or your daily shows and MSNBCs and whatnot. Regardless of what you plugged into, they're all lying. If they are in any kind of mass distribution position or even secondary tier level of distribution, somewhere below the mass, above the tree falling in the middle of the forest where no one can hear it, somewhere in that range, it's been allowed through a rigorous, stringent gatekeeping probe, deeply invasive, with 3 fingers, a 3-finger probe to make sure. And that not only do they have that going for themselves, but the only people that they hire for those gigs are people that they've vigorously scrubbed and vetted to the point where, only the children of rich people or morons or eye candy or jocks or anything like that are allowed to appear on vehicles with mainstream level distribution. And not just mainstream, but anything, again, between tree falling in the middle of the forest where no one can hear it, all the way up to the most popular, to the Super Bowl. Everything in between, it's all a bunch of things. And you see, people like, Jonathan Majors, who gets, added into the list of Marvel movies and something like that, build a whole giant multi-movie plot line, and then they found out after the fact that this guy's abusing people and stuff. It's that was all intentional. And how is this guy still getting gigs and stuff? Still getting gigs. How does Chris Brown get mainstream level of heavy rotation spins on Clear Channel after he beat the hell out of Rihanna? Right? Am I right? Hello? McFly. Yeah. All right, number 2, I'm not partisan. I'm not playing the game anymore. I've told just every single episode that has been produced thus far by our glorious team. 147 different production associates are involved in the production of this pleasantness. I'm just not going to do it, man. I'm not going to start hating on command because people say that I need to cast aspersions against entire swaths of people. It's the bridge, it's the gateway drug to bigotry. It's just, it's amazing. A plot line created by some dude from the 1400s, Machiavelli, about divide and conquer, been going on 600 years later, it's still working like a charm and making you all look like a bunch of chumps. There's a lot more that we share in common than we have that's separate from each other, and more that we hate the more that we come up with, hey, look at all these people who are part of a cult and or part of a widespread sexual deviance and all that stuff. Anybody that either one of the sides is talking about doesn't apply to 99% of the people that they're talking about. I mean, what's the freaking point of creating these giant monstrous things that they use to ramp up hatred so that we can never collaborate with each other to throw off the shackles of the true evildoers of this world, the freaking ruling elite, god damn it. When are you going to get it done? How are you going to figure out they've got billions of dollars we spent $1 trillion a year giving them all the military hardware that they need to oppress us. They have the largest, oversight and intrusive, spy agencies that, can tell. They analyze our leavings, if you know what I'm saying, to find out what we ate the night before and stuff like that. That's how, they got stuff that can read our minds at this point that they're talking about publicly on NPR. And we only hear in the public, we probably only hear things about 20 years after they actually perfected it. We'll finally hear about, something that'll trickle through on weekends edition of NPR that nobody listens to. And all of a sudden you listen to it and you go like, did they just start talking about software that can read people's minds that's triggered by a safe word and stuff, and then all of a sudden then it starts to read what's in our well, anyway, and then they got the showing us some of the cyborg robots. We can take a look at the Disney developed for us killer robotic AI attack dogs. They don't have that at the attraction at Disney World. I heard that they're going to replace the Hall of Presidents with the Hall of Attack Dogs, the Hall of AI robotic attack dogs in Frontierland at Disney World, the Magic Kingdom. They're the ones who helped develop it, and we paid for it. This stuff is so much deeper than just hating on some other people and stuff. Look, we all die. We all are subject to being heavily wounded by AI robotic attack dogs. We all love tasty jams. We all love to laugh. We all want, to have loving and considerate family members and all kinds of good stuff. And we want our kids to have lives better than us. There's so much more that we share and have in common if we can just, sort of, be more open to the things that provide our individual character. It's like, so many people think, oh, well, I'm an individual, a regular individualist, and so on and so forth. But, if anybody else shows any signs of individuality, time to foist a lot of hateful epithets, cast some epithets and aspersions on people just because they're exhibiting the individuality that you claim to have so much pride in within your own self. Sad. It's really sad. These are sad times for all of us. I feel sorry for you all. Really, in all honesty. All right, so I've had a lot of complaints lately about the top 10 worst of lists being generated by AI. Speaking of AI, but generated by AI chat boxes or whatever the hell. But that's not true. All of the top 10 worst lists are compiled by seemingly human figures. It's hard to tell these days what's human and what's not. I'm not even really sure if I'm not an AI myself. I kind of worry about it. Frequently, I stay up at night. Right now, it's 4:53 a.m. Ooh. On May 12th that I'm recording this. What human being would do something like that? I very well could be an AI. Pinch. Oh, I felt that. Maybe I am still human. I don't know. But anyway, the thing is that these top 10 worst lists are created by a team of clog dancing somnambulists who gathered together with me outside of the hot springs in Arkansas, who, when we take copious amounts of tequila mixed with floor wax, and come up with these lists, while under the influence. While that pathway to excess is perhaps a pathway to enlightenment, I don't recommend that anybody else indulge in such. It's a very dangerous thing. Working with top 10 worst of lists can lead one to dementia and paranoia. What? Paranoia, baby! Ride the flavor wave. All right, so one final thing before we get into the list itself, the list proper, as I like to refer to it as. We have commercial sponsors this week. It's Basic Instinct. From the producers of the movie Basic Instinct comes Basic Instinct, featuring the band NSYNC, showing off their junk to cops to try to throw them off the scent. I'd make a joke here about Sharon Tate. What is that lady who was on the Basic Instinct? Sharon, blonde lady thingy, actress. Is it Sharon? Is it Sharon? Sharon, whatever. Sharon Share-alike. That's going to be my porno name if I ever do any pornos. Unfortunately, I'm really not the type. To be honest with you, I'm hung like a Audi belly button. So I don't think they're going to be doing any pornos with me anyway. But if I were to be able to do one, perhaps with my loquacious verbosity, I might be able to, appear in some. I'd be Sharon Share-alike would be my. Hi, I'm Sharon Share-alike. How'd you like to do some Basic Instinct? What's that lady's name? Sharon Gless? Also, Planet of the Wet Doctors, which answers the question, as they got plenty of wet nurses. How come they don't have any wet doctors? Planet of the Wet Doctors, coming soon to a multiplex indoctrinational center near you, and also from the producers of Return of the Titans. Wait, what is that movie? That thing? And they got the Clash of the Titans. From the producers of Clash of the Titans now comes Full Release the Kraken. On IMAX, the first IMAX porno. Finally, an IMAX 3D porno for the whole family, the Manson family. All right, so that's I've taken care of all of our obligations and paid the bills. And it's time for the top 10 list today. Did I say top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen? Finally, as you've come to expect, the uncompromising nature of top 10 worst ofs, able to fearlessly bring down cultural icons who've been artificially foisted to levels of ubiquity and omnipresence in our cultural landscape for reasons unbeknownst to any caring and feeling human being in the world. I see time and time again, I see all these album reviews and stuff like that going like, oh, Bruce Springsteen's The River. It's one of the finest double albums in the history of double albums. I'm like thinking who's paying your salary, buddy, to say all this bulldink? The River, Jesus Christ. I'd like to chuck it the river in a river. And Nebraska, oh, here I am singing a bunch of droll, stupid, blah, 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 help you fall asleep in case you've got insomnia, is what that album should have been called. And I mean, just, forever on and on and on about stupid, surface minded garbage. And then all of a sudden, he's like, becomes like Mr. America's spokesman and stuff, trying to cheer everybody up with the chosen and the upbringing or whatever the hell. Who cares what all this stupid human touch and all? I mean, just this waste of time. Oh my God, somebody stop the guy. And even on his like best albums, like a lot of Chris' favorite, Tunnel of Love. I mean, Tunnel of Love, it's like got one song on it that anybody gives a that should. That really feels music in a visceral way. Would even think of listening to. And that's the critic's favorite. That's the best that you can put forward. And Bruce Springsteen, like it's an underground thing. It's an unheralded, underrated favorite of critics' choice. Who's paying these guys a salary? Like Joseph Mengele? No, not Joseph Mengele. Who's that guy? Adolf Eichmann? Who's the guy? Joseph Goebbels. Who's paying these guys a salary? Joseph Goebbels? These critics and stuff like that are on the take. They've got to be on the take. Nobody could possibly review Taylor Swift's albums as being listenable. And these people are saying, oh, Bruce Springsteen's The River. Oh my God, why haven't you listened to Bruce Springsteen's The River? Oh, yes. Garbage, gobbledygook. Let's do a few more songs about cars. The problem, I got you. The problem, I got you covered. It's my Bruce Springsteen imitation. I'll do some songs about darkness and cars. Darkness and cars. All right, top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. Number 10, his lyrics. What? Look, I'll give you the first couple albums. He's got some interesting stuff going on when he was literally copying Van Morrison and Bob Dylan. It's like a combination of Bob Dylan and Van Morrison is like, and dumb it down by about 1,000%, and you got Bruce Springsteen. Right? It's just a freaking cheap copy of Van Morrison, who likes to move around on stage, is energized. Van Morrison, is like a statue of a Confederate general and standing in the middle of the stage going, I hate people of color. What's that song? Oh my God, Brown Eyed Girl. The worst song in the history of everything that gets played anywhere that you go. Everywhere that anybody goes, at some point, if they just stayed there for a while, at some point, some asswipe is going to spin Brown Eyed Girl. I have a theory that Brown Eyed Girl is the ubiquitous song. You can hear it in an elevator, you can hear it in a workplace, you can hear it in the freaking classic rock stations. Brown Eyed Girl, I'll kill you. That was my imitation of Van Morrison. See how similar it was to Bruce Springsteen? Just a little underbite for Bruce Springsteen. And Van Morrison's this is pretty much like the same guy, except Bruce Springsteen is animated. All right, what was that? Was that a lick from Bruce Springsteen or a lick from Van Morrison? Ain't having you freeze out. Was that Bruce Springsteen or Van Morrison? You don't know. How about this one? It was Van Morrison or Bruce Springsteen? No. It's Van Morrison and Bruce Springsteen. Quick! You don't know, do you? This is because this is the same guy. Sped up and jump around a little bit, and take Van Morrison, shove even more coke up the guy's nose, and you got yourself Bruce Springsteen, man. Number 9, the top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. His music. Okay. Somebody make it stop. The guy comes out, double album coming up with double. Look, it's something we're supposed to be impressed. Double freaking album. Like that's just more annoying garbage in the music vernacular, like in the main, like don't do us any favors. Wouldn't it be great if there was less Springsteen in the world and more stuff that was actually honest and revelatory instead of just the same trite euphemisms and overwhelmingly banal posing types of high roading everybody in the world and whatnot. Wouldn't it be just great? And think about the best of Bruce Springsteen. Let's put together a best of Bruce Springsteen right here, right now. All right, so you got to put. That's the big one. And then you get. That one. And then you get. And then you got. And then you got that one, and you got the really slow one. Do I need to go on here at this point? Number 8 of the top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen, his nickname, the Boss. Okay, it's a 4-letter word. We get it. Just like work, 4-letter word. Boss, 4-letter word. You do the math here. It's to the point where you just kind of try to think like, what's this guy looking to do to us, man? I mean, just like, put us to work because he's the boss. And if he's really all about like sort of liberating us from the oppressive. He's not about liberating. I'm just like, I don't even know what he's up to, man. Like he's born in the USA. There's a rah rah boom ba type of melody and stuff like that. But it's all about, somebody who's trying to come to grips with the disillusionment of the American ideal and Vietnam and all that kind of stuff. I'm on fire, dancing in the dark. I suppose those are things that people do. If I was doing a $10,000 pyramid, $100,000 pyramid, and the prize round subject was things that Bruce Springsteen is trying to get us to believe or something. I don't know, what is it? So you're born to run, and you darkness at the edge of town, and you got pink Cadillacs and Cadillac ranches, and what's the point? Just trying to get people to drive around and escape all of their responsibilities and confronting them and the various different things that are imposing upon us, and find solutions for that, or influence people to find a new way forward? Or are you just, complaining about the bad things in the world and just say, I know things, I see things, I'm complaining about them? Well, okay, so what's your idea of a way forward? Are you actually just cashing in on people's angst? I don't get it. And you're the boss? The boss of who? Bossing what? Bossing your group around? Like Mr. High and Mighty? I'm not buying it, Bruce. There's something phony. There's something wrong there. The tough guy, I sing like this. And I have nothing to do with Van Morrison. Van Morrison stole from me. Bruce Springsteen. Number 7 of the top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. How many songs about driving in old-timey gas-guzzling cars that have no seatbelts or airbags and are virtual death traps can one person do? Did I say death traps? Riding around the death traps and suicide belts, necked in town, everybody's coming around and they're born to run. Doodly-doo-doo, yeah. Doodly-doo-doo, hey, let's make some cash. I've seen the future of rock and roll, and it is Bruce Springsteen. Signed, Bruce Springsteen. It's like that time when Eric Clapton went running around London spray painting Clapton as God on a bunch of like garage doors and stuff like that. Gas station walls, petrol station walls, I should say. Right. Number 6, the top 10 worst things Bob Springsteen. Per the Hamburger Man in the movie Nice Dreams, he's screwed up the rock and roll business. Hamburger. Bruce Springsteen screwing up the rock and roll business. If you haven't seen Nice Dreams and you're proper age, you got to see Nice Dreams, man. What a wild ride that movie is. That movie's got it, like right up the giggy. And Pee Wee Herman is spectacularly hilarious as the Hamburger Man. Number 5 of the top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen, his singing through his clenched teeth style is hella cringe. It's so cringe that I had to employ a cringy colloquialism to describe it in my use of the term hella. It's hella cringe. I'm sorry. I had to use hella. There was no other thing that was gross or cringe enough to be able to... It's not just explaining the cringe. It's being cringe within the explanation of the cringe that gives you a sense of the hyper-inflated sense of cringiness involved with his chosen stylization. Open up your freaking mouth when you're singing. God damn it! It's not a growling. It's like Red Skull from Captain America villain stuff. I think of Red Skull every time I see Bruce Springsteen belting one out, or Tesseract and the Red Skull, and I'm trying to think another. Rosanna Dana. Wait, what's that song? Rosanna Dana, jump a little higher. Senorita, consider higher. I want to be a liar, no liar. But all right, Van Morrison versus Bruce Springsteen. One more. What you call it? Surprise quiz. Something. There's pop quiz. One more pop quiz for you. All right. So which one is this one? Van Morrison or Bruce Springsteen? There we go. All right, Springsteen or Van Morrison? Which one is this one? All right, Van Morrison or Bruce Springsteen? Yeah. All right, Springsteen or Van Morrison? Number 4 of the top 10 worst, what is it? Things about Bruce Springsteen. 3-hour concerts? What? Nobody needs that anymore. 3-hour concert. He's trying to prove, to people. Nobody can handle 3-hour concert. Nobody's got the time for that. It's like, somewhere after the first, few weeks of a relationship, if you're taking more than like the absolutely bare minimum amount of time to copulate with your partner, then you're just like intruding on their personal space. At some point, you just, follow the essentials and just get on with your lives. Nobody wants 5-hour long sex marathons I think it's probably about 3 weeks into the relationship. You're doing 5 hour 6 marathons after the third week of any relationship. It's like it's the same thing as Bruce Springsteen throwing 3 hour concerts in the you know 20 in the year 2026. Nobody wants to see it. Okay, I got things to do. I got to binge watch the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. Just cut it out. Just play the basics. And just open with Born to Run. Do a little of that something. One other oldie and a couple of other stuff. Just say goodnight or whatever. Nobody wants any 3 freaking hours. Talk about like a total ego trip guy. And then, number 3, the top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. 98% of what he's doing is, forgettable, nauseating, worthless, unnecessary. It's not. Keith Richards used to say, "It's not what you play; it's what you don't play." You create that space, the whole idea of honky tonk woman, where it's just sort of like all these spaces, and you just play just enough to be able to get the essential groove. Bruce Springsteen lost the essential groove about like a million freaking years ago. And he's replacing it with 3 hour long concerts and double albums every 5 minutes. It's unnecessary, Bruce. We know. What's he compensating for? You know what it is. All this, talk about muscle cars and 3 hour concerts and stuff like that. Old Bruce is probably hung worse than I am, and I'm hung like the tail end of a 31 to 35 count per pound shrimp. Number 2, the top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. That rah-rah cheerleading stuff deludes people to think that they're worth a damn. I don't know where all this stuff about you're perfect just the way you are and, people being victimized, people don't deserve to be victimized or exploited. People don't totally deserve to be victimized and exploited. And people aren't beautiful. People are freaking somewhere between savages and idiots. And idiots is perhaps a little colorful. Ignorant, useless, brainless, mouth-breathing zombies is probably a little bit closer of a description to what people really are. Somewhere between savages and nobodies, right? And Bruce Springsteen is like deluding people into thinking that they're worth a damn when they aren't. People not getting their kids vaccinations for measles, like their kids are worth a damn. Their kids are not worth a damn. They're certainly not worth putting other people at risk because you think your kids are so great that that they can't play by the rules and they can do things that will wind up having perhaps severe negative implications for other people's lives. Nobody's worth that, right? I'll do whatever I frickin' please. I don't care who gets hurt because of my, insistence on imposing my self-worth over other people's well-being. This type of mentality that gets us into trouble. Oh, I don't want Bill Gates to put a computer chip in my brain. Well, what else were you doing with your brain that precludes you from falling into line and taking your medicine? I just don't get it, because your freaking brain is already controlled and manipulated and observed to the nth degree, to the point where it's really the same as having a computer chip implanted inside of it. I mean, they follow you along with your phone, where you are, what you're saying, who you're talking with, or your social networking, or your click history online, and all of your various different, bills and everything that they can view, and your Ashley Madison accounts. You think that's secret? None of that stuff is secret. All your porn habits and everything. Everything is all under their microscope. They've got it nicely tucked away in an indexed file where they can pull it up anytime they want to. And where were you going to go with your all this supposed liberty and autonomy that you're trying to like delusionally think that you have a possibility of achieving? What are you going to do with it? You just everybody does is go to box stores and go to something that has to do with their car and go to work or to go to bars and things like that where they take in a bunch of pre-digested crap and conventional mentality types of pronunciations and sports and all this stupid worthless recycled garbage that's meaningless and takes us to nothing more than a cul-de-sac of intellectual doom and it limits our freedom. There are no freedoms. How are you going to collectivize to be able to you're going to really just go up and walk up to the government and knock on the door and say, you're overthrown now. I've got such a force of indomitable spirit and intellectual superiority and individuality and autonomy that you must bow to my will. Is that how you're going to change the world? What were you looking for the autonomy and the freedom for? What were you looking to do with it? Because you've got nothing. The whole world has been compromised. All the world is compromised so much all around you. You can't even say stuff like, call up somebody and say, hey, look, let's start having some meetings to be able to, put together an institution dedicated towards the liberation of the workers and provide support for the downtrodden and the exploited victims of the oppressive nature of the billionaire class. How far do you think you're going to get with all of that? By the time you get to like a half a dozen people, they'll have sussed you out, red flagged you, and limited and downshifted your distribution of all your posts and everything like that, so that nobody will ever see anything that you're trying to do ever again, and you'll just become, a victim in an electronic jail, just like I am, where you're consigned for the rest of your life to be anonymous and unable to be able to connect with other people. The extent and the breadth of our captivity is so beyond anything that you could possibly imagine that, you'd be like, okay, well, I'm not going to, and having Bill Gates infiltrate your brain with a computer chip that's delivered through a vaccination? Stupid. Infant. People are not worth a damn anymore. You've given up. You gave up a long time ago. And while, in the last, since 9/11, they've assertively worked their asses off to create an indestructible fascist cryptocracy that's I forget what the word is, kleptocracy. But anyway, shadow fascist government that's designed specifically to inhibit your humanity. And I believe that any minute now, they're going to be knocking on your door to collect us and take us all to the death camps and replace us with the freaking AI robot, goddammit. And the AI robots, they don't care about Bill Gates throwing a few extra computer chips into their brain. And Elon Musk, the guy who controls the whole goddamn world, could buy off the whole goddamn world if he felt like it. He wants to go to Mars more than anything else, obviously. And the AI robots, they'll be able to take him to Mars within a week. You don't need oxygen. You don't need, worry about industry or health concerns or food or anything like that. You just send them off in their, a rocket with nothing else, just a few AI robots, and they'll build you a whole goddamn terrarium if you want. Human beings are superfluous, right? And all this stuff that they're putting out from you is just to get us to fight amongst ourselves so that we'll never figure it out in time to be able to protect ourselves from our, this is our swan song. And our swan song is the tune of Hate on Hate Crimes. It's overwhelming. It's stunning. And you don't get it. You'll never get it. And then it'll be too late. It's already too late. God damn it. The ignorance and apathy, to show righteous indignation at this point in the game is just foolhardy. It really shows the complicity that was necessary for them to be able to get into the position to be able to literally dispose of the human race is astounding. And you sit there hating on each other like it doesn't make a difference, but it does. And that was the whole intention of all of them. Everything from the Telecommunications Act of 1996 all the way through up to today's, Kill Tony show on Netflix. To get us hating, despising each other, lowbrow, hatred of intellect and science and all that stuff. It all plays a role. And you bought it without question. Hook, line, and sinkers. All right, and the number one top 10 worst things about Bruce Springsteen. Number one is clearly he thinks his farts don't stink. You know it's true. Bruce, if you're out there watching, you're part of the problem, not part of the solution. Cheering on people to continue to be victims. Wow, what an incredible effort. That's all the time that we've got for the Top 10 Worst F's today. What an incredible time in our lives this has been. I think you probably agree with me that it's an unrivaled adventure that we've had together over the last 3.5 years of Top 10 Worst F's. But I want to remind everybody everything I say here is opinions, not necessarily based on fact. Just doing the best I can. Trying to coalesce all the messages that I'm receiving from my attenuated brains in touch with the ethereal of messages traversing through the universe and distilling them as best I can and channeling them out through my pie hole. What an incredible honor it is to have lived long enough to present this to you. And I encourage you again. If you're not digging what I've got, what I'm selling, if it's not passing the sniff test, I encourage you. I insist that you either look it up for yourself and figure it out for yourself, man. You should be doing that all the time now. Everything is compromised. Everything you see is being shown to you intentionally by someone that's distilled those viewpoints through an editorial prism. And then also, hey, look, I would love to know that rather than engendering feelings of animus towards me, that you take that energy and use it to inspire you to do your own top 10 videos or whatever it is that's an idiom that feels good to you, ranting, raving about that fat guy with the crazy hair with top 10 worst lists. Whatever it is that gets you off, that allows you to express yourself and your viewpoints, do that. It's almost too late. And if you feel really strongly about, empowering those who want to express their own individualized anti-establishment viewpoints, live that truth. Be that person. Galvanize the human spirit. Inspire people to strive towards a greater sense of their own humanity and spread that throughout the world. Do it. Don't wait on, me to respond to some hateful messages and stuff like that. I'm barely surviving. I don't have any skin in the game. I'm not looking to make any brownie points with somebody or whatever, cash in on this. I'm in anguish all the time. Regrets, physical pain, and battle scars from 30 years of trying to raise the red flags about all these compromises that our overlords have foisted upon us. And I'm on my last leg. So, I mean, go ahead and do what you think is right. But the fact is that, you do a lot better at trying to make the most out of your lives while you can. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to smash the freaking like button. Smash it. Ooh, smash that like button. And, until next time, I just reminded you, like, I don't see the dead. I don't treat the today. That's what it's called.